ladies and gentlemen, Max here, team leader of the reviews team here at GameCast, and I'm here with a special first impressions video on the collaboration project between Epic Games and People Can Fly, known as FortNite. This game has been generating a lot of buzz lately, which makes sense because it's the first real big project from the guys that used to make Gears of War. For the time being, FortNite is a game I'm both willing and hesitant to recommend. On one hand, it's a brilliant blend of the building mechanics popularized by Minecraft and the Horde mode by Epic Games themselves. On the other, it's designed around the mobile pay-to-win style of gaming, where grinding is prevalent and resources can be scarce. I've been told the game becomes a different beast later on, which is keeping me playing every second I can to see these parts, and I'm definitely enjoying my experience, but I can see it getting stale soon. Anyways, let's get into the breakdown. Now, the core mechanics that FortNite is built around, the combat and the base building, are really tight. The base building specifically is something that could have been really screwed up, but they ended up nailing it. It's very easy to switch between combat and building modes, and you can throw stuff around wherever you want. The core of each mission is that there's something you have to protect, and you build up a fort around it to hold off any horde that comes in. This fort can be made out of 3 different types of resources: wood, brick, or stone. And these resources can be found in any of the levels by using a pickaxe that you can destroy almost anything with. It's actually pretty fun taking down walls, blowing up cars, and doing that sort of stuff to gather resources. Unfortunately, I feel like the building itself can be a bit limited. All you can really build at this point in the game are flat floors, flat walls, roofs, and stairs. There's no real way to get creative with this sort of thing right now. Almost every base just ends up being some form of a rectangle with windows and doors. Now, it's important to note that the point of the game isn't building these creative bases, it's building a fort that defends against whatever it is you're defending, but the community is definitely going to want to take advantage of that, and there's not a whole lot of ways they can do so. Part of FortNite is that you have your home base to defend against the horde, and you can build it up as you play through the game. But seeing quite a few different home bases now, a lot of them look pretty similar. But extra building materials and styles is something I really hope they focus on in later updates. In addition to your fort, you have traps that you can throw down to help defend it. These are really cool, but also fairly limited. You have typical spike floors and spike walls and area of effect things, jump pads, healing pads, which again are cool, but when that's all you've been using for the past 12 hours, it gets a bit old. That's not to mention, traps are kinda useless. Not that they aren't powerful and not that they won't defeat the horde if they get to it, but the horde mostly won't get to these traps. I have played many a round where I haven't thrown down a single trap because we're all on the front lines holding back the horde before they can get anywhere near the base. The forts feel more of a backup plan for when you somehow fail, rather than a core part of the combat. It's hard to say that's a knock on the game because that's also a praise that the combat is so good, because it really is. Gunplay feels tight and polished as well as melee. Each hero has a certain skill that benefits you in combat, and using melee weapons will help you conserve ammo. Again, from what I've been told, the second world in the game really opens it up, but I'm not sure how true that's going to be. I'm definitely excited to get there, and I'm hopeful that they're going to introduce a lot more mechanics, but for the most part, I could see this early game turning a lot of players off because they're not going to want to invest 20 to 25 hours before getting to the quote-unquote meat of the game. That's not to mention that FortNite has a pretty big learning curve. It starts you off with an hour-long tutorial that you play by yourself, which, to be fair, does introduce the mechanics fairly well. It's in between missions in the menus that get kinda confusing. FortNite is run on a loot crate style system, and opening one up gives you a shit ton of items that you're not even sure what to do with. Of course, as time goes on, these systems become more apparent and you begin to learn a bit more about what you're doing, but there are still some things I'm not even sure on, and I'm around 12 to 13 hours in the game. For example, your loot crates come with a bunch of survivors that you'll throw into squads, but I'm not entirely sure what these squads do aside from giving you a small home base bonus, which is pretty useless because again, you can hold all the horde off by yourself before they even get to your base. I'm throwing survivors into these squads because I can more than I feel like I should. This sense of progression and learning how the game works is something that will hopefully be addressed later on. Another worry of mine is the sort of pay-to-win mechanics that FortNite seems to have been built around. It's easily compared to a mobile game in that a lot of your progression comes from having to do quests that require you to backtrack and do these same missions over and over again. Not only that, but if you're not being careful to maintain your resources and ammo, you're going to run out and have to either grind or pay to get them back. There have been whole rounds where I've just used melee weapons because it's too expensive to be crafting ammo. Also, your weapons have pretty low durability levels and there's absolutely no way to repair them, so if you run out of those, you're equally fucked. I've had a few friends jump on the game after me, and I've been sure to instruct them to use their resources carefully and not just go guns blazing into any fight they see. To be fair, it's not unmanageable at this point in the game, but I worry that later on, once the hordes get harder and you're going to be building a lot more, I presume, you're not going to be able to keep up with this management and you're going to be forced to grind all the time or just pay your way up. I still have a while to go before I get to that area, and it would be great to see my concerns addressed because this game is fun. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hooked right now, but I feel that part of that is because I have some good friends to play with. I can't say I'd recommend this game entirely if you're a solo player, at least not yet. I still have a lot to explore in this game, which will be described in my full review later on, but I hope this first impressions video has given you guys some insight on what's going on here. Be sure to leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of the game so far. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to stay tuned to GameCast for all your gaming needs.